Socialization, in its basic form, speaks to our upbringing and the values bestowed upon us by our families and society at large. In today's episode, we zero in on why this phenomenon is necessary and what role each family member, as well as society, plays in raising an integrated child. As the old African proverb goes, it takes a village to raise a child. My name is MOG. Welcome to Ikage Motswana The Podcast. This episode is brought to you by O3. O3, live pure. There's an old African proverb which says, it takes a village to raise a child. As Ikage Motswana The Podcast, we are a huge part of that village. And I'm your brother, MOG. I'm not alone. I'm with my friend, your sister, your cousin, my co-host, certified wellness coach, Miss Agatha Atlholang. How are you?
I'm okay, MOG. How are you?
Well, I need to ask you how you are because the initial 2 episodes, you had dreadlocks. 20 years worth of dreadlocks. Or is it 30? Or 40? Now you have a changed look. What's going on? You look beautiful, by the way. Very beautiful.
Thank you so much. Dad passed away, got 2022, I think. It's been a year. Our culture, tamagore, ha o tokaheletswe ke motsadi. O bontsha moriri, ga te re ntsha sefifi. So I should have done it nako yone, but I was so attached. I've had those dreadlocks since 2013, I think.
So it's 10 years.
Yeah, it was, my hair was my thing, But I've got responsibilities and I know what I needed to do. And that's where we're at. But I should say, look, junioring, I think I go senioring, go mataspe.
Right.
Yeah. So Goldilocks is in the building, baby.
And I don't know if I will get her name right. India Ari, she has a song.
Yeah.
We are not our hair. Okay? So this is permanent. This is forever and ever. Amen.
Yeah, and besides, I can rock anything, man. Give me short hair, give me letwadi, give me a brush cut, give me dreadlocks, give me a fro, man. I'm pretty, I'm gorgeous.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
I like that. All right. So, in the previous episode, and by the way, if you haven't checked it out, go to our YouTube page, Ikage Motswana The Podcast. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Ikage Motswana The Podcast. Share the clips, like the page, and YouTube. That's where you can check out the full episode.
Yeah.
On the previous episode, which was episode 2, we talked about socialization, sort of like an introduction.
Yeah.
In its basic form.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What it is and the importance of both the nuclear and extended family, as well as the different roles that each member has. What role dad has, what mom has, what uncle or auntie has.
Yeah.
On this episode, we need to zero in, sort of like a continuation.
Yeah.
What the impact of socialization has on our social wellness. Kile MOG, Wole Agatha, on us as men and women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think let's start off first, the effects of socialization and how we show up in different environments. Let's start off first, there you are, and then you get a job. It's time for you to work. Now, the question is, are you going to be able to relate lebatosente? Because social wellness speaks to those relationships around your job, your friends, and your interpersonal relationships. Ya no how tsena go tirong. O leba botshelo yang, o rutilwe yang go relate le batho. How do you see the next person? What kind of relationships do you have with your colleagues? A wa go lopela kana wa go dira tiro a go hela sente. A wa go gata ka batho ba bangwe kana yang? Are you going to be a team player? Were you taught these things at home? Because that is the basic place where you first learn these things, in the home, in the nuclear home and in the extended family.
Right.
The other thing is, let's look at Facebook. Let's look at Maranyane Hela and how people show up. And that's why I can you must always understand that you are a direct reflect. You're representing your family kind of every time you're on Facebook.
The pressure.
Hey, the things that you are saying there, people are seeing them, people are interpreting, people are asking themselves, and all sorts. So even as you interact with other people, and it doesn't mean and be a part of the mess, be constructive, do what you need to do. And I think also, lastly, your personal relationships, your intimate relationships. Hey, how are you going to show up? O boneng kwa gae o rutilweng ke batsadi gore ha o na le motho o mongwe yaanong o setse o jola. How do you present yourself?
Socialization, it's such a vast topic.
Yeah.
We will get into it more in depth in terms of school and our work and all of that good stuff. Today, let's zone in a bit, zero in on personal relationships, right?
Yeah.
How do we show up? How do I show up as a man if I didn't come from that solid nuclear and extended family, and vice versa, as a woman? How do I show up if that foundation wasn't there?
I think let's start off with one gender so that we can do the discussion justice. If you're growing up in a family, you were just raised by your mom, for example. Like I always say, moto udio habedi. There is the feminine in you and there's the masculine in you. And as a man, you're predominantly masculine, and then there's a little bit of the feminine in you. Now, if your dad wasn't available and it's just your mom, it becomes very problematic because who teaches you how to lead? Your mother is responsible for teaching you she nurtures you, right? Women turn children into boys. Men turn the boys into men.
Boys to men.
Yes. So mama takes the child, aba mo godisa into a boy. Papa o tsaya ngwana, aba mo godisa into a man. Women cannot teach men how to be men. It has never happened. It will never happen. Right. We don't know the challenges sa banna. Banna ga ba ka ke ba godisa bana ba basetsana jaaka basadi ba ka godisa bana ba basetsana. Now, if dad is not available to teach you gore mosadi o tshwarwa yang, kana also understand that as you're being taught from a bias if you have only one parent. You're not being taught the whole scope. Ya gore o relate yang le basadi, o relate yang le banna. Your mother is going to teach you sometimes from a place of trauma and impose a lot of things onto you. So if your father is there, he balances it out for you.
Right.
Also, remember that if you're coming from an environment where your father, let's say, there's a bit of pain there coming from your mom. Now you're going to have to start stepping in. She starts to see you as the husband. So you find that before his time. And you no longer look at the child as an entity who you're actually being groomed to take care of your mother, which is not a bad thing. But now what happens when you start getting married?
Right.
That is why we always have the in-laws, because the mother is looking at this child as if subconsciously, every decision, it goes through the mother instead of the wife.
Is it where instead of now making a decision, it is just you and your wife?
Yeah.
You tell your wife, let me consult mom first.
Exactly.
Right.
So look at what that thing is doing. I kira ha mama hana le papa. o na le lelwapa la gagwe, she focuses on la gagwe lelwapa. Mo e leng gore wa tlhaloganya gore wena o le ngwana mosimane, they actually push you into that.
Right.
Ya no ha motsadi a le nosi, o itebella le nosi, a ba go busetsa kwano, a sa go godise gore o tswe.
From, as a certified wellness coach, I want to ask you this. Are men in Botswana able to take that pressure? Or it's not everyone?
Which pressure? What pressure?
The pressure of, say, your dad wasn't present.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you're still a child, or maybe at varsity.
Or maybe he passed away.
Right?
Yeah.
And then sort of where that consciousness of, okay, I need to show up not only for myself, but I need to show up for my family, where that responsibility comes a bit too early.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had that sort of experience, or you've been exposed to that sort of information of whether or not as men in Botswana were able to deal with that pressure.
I think men in Botswana are struggling. I think they're really struggling. Men they're wired differently. They just do what they have to do. They try not to think too much about it because they don't want to be in their emotions and break down, and then they can't do anything. But the pressure is there, and they know they have to step up. But some of them can, some of them can't. Gape, you have to look at the personalities of batho. There are those who can step up. We're going to do this, and that's it. And then there are those who can't. But then there are those by long where they are coming from an extended family. Bo maloma bone ba ba ruta gore ba tshwantse gore ba dire yang. Ngwana ka wa bona re ntata go tlhokahetse kana wa bona gore ra lona yaanong ga sa thola le teng yaanong le ta tshwanna gore le step up o dire ya na le yana re teng re ka go thusa. But there are men by long gore they don't have that. They don't have those support structures. And that's why we recommend that, you get the necessary help. Unfortunately for you as men, lilona, just as rona basadi, the social structures have collapsed. So bogologolo akere itse re ne go na le dikgota banna would go and sit down ba itsheba go buiwa ka ona mathata. We no longer have that. That's why now we're on this tip ya gore go to life coaches, go to therapists, figure out who you are. Surround yourself with healthy men by long gore they are also about growth. And it's such a challenge for you guys because I always say Botswana is a very feminine country.
What do you mean?
Our men are raised by their mothers. And ga gona borre mo malapeng. Ba ba leng teng ba teng, they're trying, but you can feel the lack of how can I put it? We are not bold. Re boy, banna ba rona ba boy. They haven't come to their own. And one of the reasons we're like that, ke gone gore ga re sa thola re rupisa bana. Yaanong ngwana mosimane o tlhoka go rupa. Yaanong nature ha o ntsha tsone di-institution tsone tse tsa rona tse tsa go rupa tse. Nature yone e hella e go rupisa. One of those things ke depression. That's why o ta ithala gore re bezwa ke depression re le bo 35 yana.
Right.
Wa rupa go mo ke go rupa mo. Because it's calling you, it is you calling you, consciousness calling you back to yourself, to rediscover yourself, and come to your fullness. This happened to me. Some of us, we call it a spiritual awakening or whatever. I had mine when I was 36. But it comes for you somehow, some way. Or there's a tragedy that you experience.
Right.
You might lose your mom. Your parents might break up. You might end up losing a child or something happens to you that tries to usher you into this consciousness. So whichever way, I think a lot of the times we get afraid. When it's time to go into the journey, you
feel sorry for yourself.
You feel sorry for yourself instead of going through the process and really trying to figure out that whole experience is beckoning you to go and figure yourself out. Who are you?
A two-part question. That sort of pressure and not going through the process.
Yeah.
Still focused on men.
Yeah.
Before we get to
to
the women. Still focused on men.
Yeah.
You not going through that process. You not being able to sort of find the structures that can sort of guide you
and integrate you.
You. Is it one of the reasons why men commit suicide more than women?
Well, I don't think it's men commit suicide more than women have those thoughts.
Sure.
Men are courageous enough to go through with it. That's the difference. That's what basadi ga ba ipolaya. Ga ba batle go ipolaya. Ko re hela ga bana pelo ya teng. Monna ha ikaletsa gape monna o technically wa itse re o dira ja.
Okay.
But continue.
And then say you are in that situation. Dad wasn't around.
Yeah.
You know, as a man watching this podcast right now, where do I start?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where do I start in the sense of I don't want to be overwhelmed?
Yeah.
I know lots of guys by long, they go through so much. And only now and then are men starting to talk nyana halele hale.
Yeah.
But we need more. We need more. Where do you start?
Well, the issue, like I'm saying, Hore, we are a very feminine country. You know, the fathers are not available for whatever reason. Sometimes they do say, Hore, nagana, well, we do have those instances. I would be lying to say that hadiyo, Hore, ha ngota italaelo gore ona le motho hella a dira gore o ska bona ngwana, a batla go tsaya ngwana away from you just because she can't handle the fact that you may no longer be interested. And then it gives rise to this, it contributes also to this fatherlessness, ya rona ya Botswana. And you find that when the father is not home, like we said, ngwana gana a sense of purpose and a sense of drive, aba a khona go itwela. Kana papa ke ena go rutang gore o khona go itwela. So the thing is, we're going to have to find ways gore re ithute botshelo. First of all, like I said, go for the life coaching. You know, we keep asking, what do we do? What do we do? Botswana, you're just going to have to learn gore tshwanetse re o patele. Wo go ipatisisa, o nne le motho hatse, o ntshe se se leng mo teng mo. So that your therapist or your coach or whoever it is that you are going to be chatting to you helps you to find you. No, your therapist doesn't tell you who you are. Your coach doesn't tell you what to do. Ra go bata because ra go sinka, ra go epolla as an individual. So we start off there by doing the internal work, finding a professional to help you. We also start off by, like I'm saying, be around healthy people. You cannot know what it is you want to look like at the end and then find those kind of people who are winning at what you are trying to win at, which means find men around you by long gore they've been through these things and they've grown through them.
But since we're talking about personal relationships, is there something that your partner can do for you?
You can't outsource. And that's such it's a funny thing because that's what we think relationships are. Right. We think that people should be there for us emotionally. That's not how it works. We are doing relationships wrong because what we do is we want to be one with this person. You cannot be one with anybody. You are one on your own and together you build something, you grow. M.O.G, ke batla go tsena mo relationshiping le wena o tetsi. Re thellane vision.
Right.
Hey, it's a mo eleng gore nna ke to nna ke thela wena o nnetse go tsaya which is what is happening now because nobody wants to do the work. Then what happens? We get married, one person then starts growing, your mo is left behind, then ra divorce. So you can't outsource your your personal development from another person.
Or something, I think I was reading this, I don't know what I was reading, where this lady was saying she used to be in a relationship with a guy. The guy obviously had gone through whatever they had gone through, lost job, lost money, was finding it very difficult to pick themselves up.
Yeah.
And this lady was saying she experienced a partner who was actually jealous of her.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking all these business things. I want to get a I'm growing the business. But my own partner.
Yeah, but my own partner is not all
sort
we
of jealous.
do. Yeah, all we do spousal, or that's what you call it, spousal jealousy or something like that. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, your partner can only support you and support you. Ha kgonang go support-a teng. But lene ke motho ko na le di-dreams le di-aspirations tsa gagwe le wena hela yalo, but you have a common goal, which is the home, which is raising the children, which is leaving behind a legacy. And everybody has to show up, because it becomes a burden when it's just one person a tshwere the family.
Ikage Motswana The Podcast. My name is MOG, with my certified wellness coach co-host. And we're talking about socialization and the impact it has on our personal relationships. We've been talking about, the lack thereof of a stable nuclear and extended family, and how it affects how you show up as a man.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the woman.
I think before we focus on the women,
What is that?
The way I understand it, paramesising ke re o ratang dikgang tsa basadi, o ekta o kare mosadi to ntokwane. Wa e bona re nna ya? Because kana your father, men, that's why men can just listen to women the whole day, ba sa kgelehela, ba reditse, ba nna tota hela naturally, ga se batho ba tontokwane. Yaanong, your father le no go ruta go mo, gore o tswe mo tontokwane, tswa mo dikgang tsa basadi emoji. That's what your dad will say to you. A re nya, ngwanaka ke mosadi, basadi ba bua tswa hela mo kgang ya teng. And I remember when I trended, there were some men who came. There were a lot of men who could understand what I was saying. And then there was the odd bunch when we talk about what we wear, what we want, and all sorts.
Right.
And I stood there and I said to myself, these gentlemen, ke banna ba bantsinyang ba ba rotloetsang bana ba basetsana gore ba tsamaye ba sa apara sentle. Ba batla go ntsha ba re ga ba itse di-natural instincts tsa banna and how dangerous men can be. So these are clearly men who are not socialized sentle to understand how masculinity works. So they themselves don't know how they function as men. Le gore ga ba tlhaloganye seriti sa mosadi, because monna tota wa itse gore mosadi o tshwanetse ra nne le seriti, le seriti seo se extend to ene. That is why, as a married woman, there's a way you dress. And there's a way that you are, because you are living in a society that is a certain way. So no, ha Agatha bua le basadi a khalema, wena o taole bonna o bota ora Agatha ga a dirisente kana go tshwana le ha wena emoji bua le borro khalema be ke ta ke go raya ke re ga o isi banna sente ke ne ke itsing nna ka banna wa tlhaloganya gore ntse yang ke itse di challenge tsa banna yang. So men are not supposed to be interfering ha basadi ba bua.
Right.
Hey, we need to deal with ourselves as women. You need to deal with yourselves as men. And I said to the gentleman, I remember ke reply one ke morake, it's very funny. O netse go bua di tso di bua mo Facebook. I would appreciate it if you went off and spoke to other men who keep raping bana. How about you do that?
Because they say that a man is reflective of mosadi.
Hey.
Right. Go on.
And I think vice versa. I think both. If we are married and we're together right now, how I conduct myself is a reflection mo go wena. Hela ya ka ke conduct is a reflection on batsadi ba me. Le wena, the way o dirang ka teng, batho le nna ba ntibile ba ipotsa gore kante wena Agatha monno o kgonnang go nyalwa ke monno o ntseng yana. Kana wena emoji o kgonnang go nyala mosadi o ntseng yana o se itoteng. So yeah, there's that.
So then let's go back to my previous question.
Yes.
How a woman shows up without that stable nuclear and extended family. Yeah. What happens to...
I think one of the biggest things when dad's not in the home, you don't know how to respect authority. Or if dad is abusive and he's in the home, he's not showing up in his true masculinity. In na kanya gore jaanong all you've known ki your mom, your mom, your mom. So you'd rather listen to your friends than to listen to the man in your life. You see where we have a problem? Because you've never experienced monna a khalema mo lapeng, monna a supa gore mosadi o tsewa yang, mosadi o tlhokomelwa yang. So there are certain things that you're going to start doing. Ha gongwe go na le this issue ya gore basadi are like, especially when they don't grow up with their dad. Hey, this guy, he's just too much. Because you've never been shown that. You've never had a present male figure in your life. So sometimes it seems as if it's overbearing. Of course, we don't want you to be there 24/7, but you know what I'm saying. Nako ya go tshwantse re yaanong le build legacy, le build wena you are trying to lead the family. Mosadi ena o batla go akwa. Me wena you've got a vision for the family because she has never experienced leadership.
Because dad wasn't there, or a male figure wasn't there.
Exactly. There's also the issue of promiscuity, because research shows us for children who grow up in homes without their fathers, they end up barobalana, participating in sexual acts, bale banyenyane, like maybe both 13, 14, 15. It's daddy issues because they're looking for validation somewhere. And that's why you find mothateng ha khona go hold down a relationship isn't. There's issues sa go dira bana out of wedlock. I kere go nna normal. Yeah. So as opposed to when the father is available and you're in a home, mama le papa, you ke blueprint ya gago. That's why if you want to be a parent, what kind of blueprint are you putting out there for the child? Because the child is watching you. The child is watching you. So these are not generational curses. Break the curse. No. Change the way of thinking and viewing. There's a reason why our society at least a fully functional extended family.
Is that why maybe we like to say as the younger generation that, you will find out batsadi ba rona before they would stick together through anything.
Through thick and thin.
Through thick and thin, literally through thick and thin. And with sort of the younger generation, quick to pull the trigger. And when I say quick to pull the trigger, it could be break up the relationship or divorce. Yeah? Because now, what I want to understand now, Agatha, is the amount of children and babies born out of wedlock.
There's a study mo Botswana, and this is not Agatha speaking. This is statistics Botswana. I think it was 2019. 83.4% of the children who were born were coming from single moms.
That's not a good thing.
That's devastating.
That's a bad thing.
Dude, we're talking about bana ba eleng gore they are being robbed of a father, that are being robbed of understanding the value of family, that are being robbed of understanding the importance of masculinity. And some of them ele bana ba basimane. We are looking at children who are going to stand a higher chance of commit suicide, who are going gore hala ba setse ba betsa puberty, ebe ba tronke ganong ba tsenya batsadi ba ma bone tsebe because ba tsena mo strateng, they are going to look for father figures on the street. We're looking at these children being part of a statistic. 70% of incarcerated men are coming from single parent homes. We're looking at little boys who are going to end up becoming rapists, the majority of them who will be in jail. We're looking at children by Longore, they could end up having mental disorders. Tell me how this is okay.
So do we also need to have coaches on how to be a parent, or coaching on
how to be? You need
coaching
on how to be, on who you are. You need coaching on how to be a wife and how to be a husband and how to be a mother and how to be a father. Because I can see hela nna in my space. The other day I was on TikTok, checking. We had just loaded we had loaded a trailer. And, you end up going through TikTok. I don't have a personal TikTok account. I'm not interested in that nonsense. But
it's fun, though.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You just have to know who you are, And there's a little baby in a diaper. This lady has put up this post, and, there's this erotic thing that this child, but into this movie, this song, I'm sitting down and I'm thinking, do you have any idea how many pedophiles are on these platforms? Why are you doing that?
Kanye West tried to tell you. Like, I don't want my kids on social media.
Yeah,
right?
You're supposed to protect as a parent. Parents are out here, but in social media, and there are hungry, thirsty brothers out there who are looking at these kids in the wrong light. And we're talking about these very people. So, we're so insensitive to that. We just don't know how to do it, but all for likes.
All for likes. So that's socialization and our personal relationships and So long story short, we need to sort of introspect and look at how we are building our families.
Exactly. And we need to start having a love for family. The biggest problem, Botswana, is that they don't know what the purpose of these institutions are. They don't even, if you knew what the purpose of you is, do you honestly think you'd rape, beat, abuse, kill, destroy? It's because you don't know why you exist. If you knew why you existed on this earth, you would move differently. So if we can appreciate ourselves and know who we are as individuals, it would be easier to do what? To be in relationship with others who are also coming with the same mindset. That is how the family starts to thrive. It cannot thrive without the individuals not knowing who they are and why they are and whose they are.
Moving away from relationships a bit, let's talk about how we show up as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as different things.
Yeah.
When we come from such homes and backgrounds with that instability.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the instability and the stability. How do we show up? Because I think there's some sort of...
We've got a crisis.
Crisis in Yanelinti. Not only on the continent, but, even closer.
Yeah. We've got a leadership crisis. I mean, we all know this. We'd be so disingenuous to say that we don't. Leadership, that's why I take it back to the purpose of dilo, the office, the institution, the purpose of leadership is for you to bring out the best in the people that you are leading, to create an environment and a society that thrives, that allows each individual to put out their best through encouragement, we empower for them to be able to put something on the table so that the whole organization benefits. And then at the end of the day, you are seen as the hero and that is your legacy. Now, you think if you knew that, you would come into the office, do you think you would misuse the resources of the organization? Do you think you would reprimand your employees the way Oba reprimandanga thing? Do you think if you were a president, you would misuse the people and their resources? We don't understand. We are coming, we're just kind of, we tell batho ga ba rutiwa mo malapeng ba libile bo rra bone le bo mma bone gore irile ba leader no go leadiwa yang. Either that or batho ba tswa ha ba ne ba na le batsadi bao ba sa ruti bana sentle. I don't know which one it is. Because the way people are showing up in certain positions, it's baffling. It's just mind-boggling. You're just like, kana nna re itse gore le ha o ka re o senya mo organizationeng ya gago MOG. Wa senya o senye sente. How go kwa senya to the collapse of the whole company? Africa is collapsing. It's and you're thinking and you're like, where are our men? Where are our leaders? Because you guys as leaders, the reason why women are standing up and going wild and taking from you is because and you are going to have to start showing up. You're going to have to start showing up because it robs you of your masculinity when you don't. Who's going to protect us, Kamoso, if we are invaded by another country? If our men today, batola mo majalwe, who is going to protect us when other people want to come into our country and take our natural resources? When our men are too busy selling instead of building and empowering? When our men are not available in the homes? Even women should understand the value of men because that's another thing. That is why men are trash, as if we grew up with our brothers, we had good uncles, and we had good fathers. What is men are trash when these people are part of you? I get it when you are born, you are not created. Your mother carries you. But you come from your mom and your dad through procreation. So how can you rubbish the other half of you? You are rubbishing yourself. Kana how men are trash. If I were to say men are trash, I'm rubbishing my father. I'm rubbishing my uncles. I'm rubbishing my brothers. I'm rubbishing you. So we need to be very careful how we see banna in our society as both men and women. So here we are, we have this leadership crisis. Bana ba gola yang? Re tshwantse re ipotse gore bana ba gola yang le rona as a society, how are we contributing to this? Because Sosanta, here's another thing. We choose these leaders. That's why I don't want to go into conversation ya politics, ya politiki. I don't hold politicians accountable. I hold us accountable. So clearly we don't know how to choose. Just as I would hold you accountable, onta ore mosadi wa me wa ntapisa ontse yana. You chose her. You chose her. We cannot deflect from that. Yes, she will be held accountable. I hold you accountability. But it started with you. Kwena obiditsembo malome, kwena obiditsembo rangwane, kwena obiditsembo mongwe le mongwe. So wena ga o ipotsa re o ikagile go le kae gore o kgona go thopa sente. Go rela gore go mo teng mo. You have to do some work.
How then do...
Damn.
Yeah, you're preaching there. I was just like, how do I come back from that? I don't even have to come back. I think we all as a society have to make some sort of comeback based on what you were saying.
Yeah.
How do we then let's focus first on the leadership before we get to the personal relationships again. How do we then sort of reconcile and sort of come back to ourselves and to a stronger position?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm very thankful for COVID.
Yeah, that was a big reset.
Yeah.
Per se. And I like what our president said in terms of just the
mindset change.
Mindset. Sort of having to reset.
To reset.
It makes sense.
Exactly.
But anyway.
And that COVID is part of Huruba. And kore o kgona go bona gore modimo wa lemoga gore ha re leng teng re itathile mo ile gore tshwantse re a rupise le hatselo kore ka bophara the whole earth and bring us to a crossroads so that we can start looking within and stop looking at outside. Start having a love for self and others. start asking yourself the real questions. Does this life that I'm living really make sense? Does it really make sense for us to carry on? You can go, you're going into the fire. You're on your way into the fire. And something has to come, and just wake you up. So this was a wake up for us. And there's so many things that we're going to start rediscovering about ourselves. I remember the other day, another lady, this lady, because now I feel like COVID our resources we have no problem we have no problem because we are seeing life for what it is. So this reset of ours is taking us back to ourselves so that we can be human again and dig deeper, find ourselves, have a love for each other. So COVID, now I'm all for it. No matter how it came, no matter the conspiracy theories around it, whatever, I don't like to get into that. I'm a realist. I live in the now, what's happening now, and I take advantage of what's happening now.
Since you say you're a realist,
then
let me ask you this. Not everybody's going to get married.
100%.
Agatha.
100%.
And not everyone, sometimes it's not even something so no sira ka bomo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the truth. I know you might feel a bit differently. I think you do. But you get me?
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And then you find out it sort of happens this.
I think put it this way, right? I find myself in that situation. There I am. Because let's say but you chose whatever partner because at some point maybe you didn't have the tools, so you can't say that.
Okay, so
I'm here. I'm in the situation.
Yeah, the situation is here, right?
Yes.
Not everybody wants to get married.
Yeah.
Do you want to get married?
I think for me, I'm open to it. It's never been an end goal, but I am for marriage.
Right.
I'm not the person to say, there's a way I feel. Marriage is not an accomplishment. I don't have those kind of nonsense words in my mouth. But everybody chooses. Why is from a place of brokenness. So yes, some people are not going to get married. And I get that.
How do we reconcile but still try to raise a society, try to raise an integrated child? Where can still function at all levels of socialization, be it at school, be it at the workplace, be it in their personal relationships.
I like to use the States a lot because they have a lot of statistics. I don't know what Botswana is like. If you look at the Black family in the 1930s, the 1940s, and I think towards the 1950s, it would be like a statistic, 25% of children were growing up without their fathers. You look at the States today, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, what do you call it? Equality and everything. That's when the numbers started going. Today, in modern day America, you'll find that, I don't know what the statistics are, I stand to be corrected, but 70, 80% of those kids are coming from homes without the fathers. And remember, kids had their moms and dads, slavery. Today, people are more affluent. They should know better. They should understand better about the human psyche. But here we are. It is the norm. So my argument is, in as much as we have found ourselves in this kind of situation because of our recklessness, now that we are here, we have accepted. Not everybody's going to get married, yes, but it cannot be the rule. There should be an exception. Here, it's turned. It's turned around. What used to be the exception is now the rule. So my argument is, the way that we have decided to do it now, is it really working for us? We've got to think about that. We cannot have the conversation
as a collective or individually or both?
As a collective.
Right.
Because I get in a society ring, number one, ole 42 ole Agatha na osena ngwana. Kante na re mme wa tsule na re. Matata a go ke. I sat here and I said, for me, I was never going to have a child out of wedlock, and I will never have a child out of wedlock. Ga ke bati. If I'd wanted a child out of wedlock, I would have had one.
Right.
It would have been possible. But because ke tlhaloganya, especially when I went through my journey, and because I read a lot, I study on human behavior, it's not about me having money. It's about ngwana a tlhoka gore a nne integrated, a gole sente, a na le both the mom and the dad. But we find ourselves here. So what do? First of all, we speak we beat a new beat. Ya goreng, stop pressurizing people to have children ba sa nyalwa. First and foremost. Secondly, let's have respect for the family. Not only the family, marriage. One of the reasons why your generation doesn't want to get married is because my generation is misbehaving in the marriages.
Yes.
And I say that to bankana ba me kere kana ha le nnetse go tsana mo maranyane la ko bo Motswana women mo di social page ntsenetse le bua mathata a lona yalo le sa bui ka therapy ko therapy le tshosa bana ba then they feel gore ba project bana ba then they start to feel gore marriage doesn't work even though they need marriage. In marriage,
or even if you do get married, you're like,
exactly. We are going to have to start teaching again. And teaching the importance of these things. Men are trashy when I emoji me. Banna ba e leng gore rona re tswa go ba thopa. Diphukile borere ba ba re tlogetseng ka bana ba. Bo emoji bone ha ba setse ba re ba thoka gore ba re thuse as di ankele tsa bo bana. Ha re ba tena le bone those good men. Ra go dira yang, who's going to help us nurture this boy child? So women also have to stop having that conversation ya bone ya gore ga ba thoke banna. We need our men in different areas. Same thing ka lona as men. Now, if you raise your daughter Olenosi, what do you know about hygiene ya ngwana a mosetsana MOG? Ka moso o bore wena ga o batle go nyala. Mme ngwana a gago o ka ba anarile go na le motho a mme o ka mo godisang a mo ruta gore bosadi ke ga go kwa ruta ngwana o le motho a re o ruta ngwana a mosetsana bosadi. How ka ke? So we're going to have to step in rotha ka rentsana bana ba tlo tshwana re yanong ba boele e nne bana ba tshaba gape. A ke re gompieno ra re bana ke ba rona ga ba khalemelwe. Ngwana o khalemelwa ke nna hela as the parent. So we find ourselves in hot soup gompieno yana re na le bana ba e leng gore ga bana leadership ya borre. Some of these men also have taken these children and they're raising them because their mothers are not present. We know of situations where go na le bomme ba e leng gore ga ba present ga ba bate bana ba tsere bana ba ba netse borra bone. It's not like ke basadi hela. So we as a society are going to have to rethink the way that our values. Is this really where we want to go? Having children, raising children out of wedlock who have baba senang seriti sente, ba re ba tseelang seriti. Ba e leng gore ke bana ba tuetang ka moso e re ha o mo lebella yana ngwana o hella le mo toronkong because o tswa go commit di crime. This is not right. This is not right, and we're not going to justify it, and we're not going to endorse it. And I will keep speaking on this. And it is not to offend anyone. It is to say to you, you don't want to find yourself tomorrow. Olemo situation. When a situation doesn't affect them right there and then, they speak carelessly of it. But they get a wake-up call. When kamoso, ngwana ata, o tswang go ne go sena leadership ya ga ntata gagwe a bata a mo senyetsa a senyetsa wa gagwe kana ba tsena mo ntung ya gagwe a ba a mo thubela mo lelwapeng ke gone motho a thanyang a ba le mo ga gore go mo gagwe a nna senta o setse mo supentsha defects.
It takes a village to raise a child. Ikage Motswana The Podcast. Episode 2, we talked about socialization, as we already put it in its basic form. The nuclear, the extended family, the different roles that each member has. This episode that you just watched, episode 3, was a continuation of that. What happens, the impact of a stable, of an unstable, nuclear and extended family, or the foundation, the impact that it has on us as a society, on our children. What do we need to do? Where do we need to go? What needs to happen? Go on YouTube, check out the full episode, Ikage Motswana The Podcast. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram as well, on TikTok as well. And clearly this issue, it's big, yeah. It sort of like lays the foundation of who you are and who you bring into life and who they will be. So it's a big issue. There's a lot to still talk about.
And I think, let me just throw this in real quick. Women need to understand that they are responsible. This is an accountability moment now for both genders. Women are responsible for who gets born, which means women have to start saying more no's. So they have to figure out who they are so that they can choose properly. Men are responsible for who gets married. So they need to be accountable for how they choose bomme. And if men are so quick to give us babies and not marriage, what does this say about us as women? Why are we as women so quick to give men children who are not quick to give us marriage? We need to think about that as women. We really need to start having that conversation in our space. This is not a conversation that you men should have with us. We speak about it as basadi. Lona, le tshwanetse re le ipotsa gore le nyala bomang, le choose yang, le tsamaya le go tshotha eo kgang le le nosi le le bana.
My name is M.O.G. My co-host, certified wellness coach, Agatha Atlholang, Ikage Motswana The Podcast. Episode 3. This episode proudly and loudly brought to you by our good friend.
03, baby.
03, our beauty. I didn't need it. I needed just a bit. But hey, we also have a sponsor. Oil Khore helped make you look beautiful.
BBH Beauty.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Absolutely, man. Check us out on YouTube. The full episode. Like, click, share, do all types of good stuff, man. Thank you so much, yeah?
Peace.
Check you out on the next episode. Bye. This episode was proudly brought to you by 03 Botswana. 03, live pure.